She captivated so many of us at the 1996 Olympics, a gold medal gymnast on that all-star team. You see her there. But we didn't know then that Dominique Moceanu was dealing with difficult family secrets, and she didn't know then that she had a sister who'd been given away by her parents at birth. The whole story is told in her new memoir, Off Balance, and Dominique will tell us about it right after this from ABC's John Quinones.
At the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, Dominique Moceanu became the youngest American gymnast ever to bring home the gold. Overnight, Dominique became world famous, the pride of her Romanian immigrant parents. But there'd been another child, a little sister that Dominique's parents had given up for adoption without ever telling her. 20 years later, Dominique would find out about her for the first time.
My life will forever be divided into before knowing about Jen and after knowing about Jen.
Jen is her sister, Jen Bricker, born without legs. She was adopted by a family with 3 boys in Illinois.
And they were just enamored with me, and they played with me, and I loved it. I could do anything the boys could do.
Other than her Romanian heritage, Jen knew nothing of her background, but she loved gymnastics and idolized Dominique Moceanu.
I wouldn't shut up about her. Dominique, I knew she was Romanian. I knew we looked alike. Her biggest fan.
Years later, Jen would discover that her idol was in fact her biological sister.
I was just kind of in shock, like, who does this happen to?
Today, Jen is a professional acrobat and aerialist. Dominique is married and raising her 2 young children. And they, along with her youngest sister, Christina, are working hard to make up for all that lost time.
What an incredible story. Dominique Moceanu here to tell us a little bit more about it. And I have to say right at the start, what an arresting photo on the cover of your book, Off Balance. To learn you have a sister so long after the fact, it has to be so amazing. But what struck me is that you had a sense of it well before you knew something.
There was a sense of primal loss, and my husband can attest to this. About a few months before Jennifer entered my life, I had this sense that there was something out there, a piece of the puzzle missing, and I would joke with my husband. We'd see these shows on television of long-lost siblings and things, and I was like, what if that ever happened to me? And I would think, no way, how would that ever happen to me?
And then you got the letter.
Then I received the biggest shock of my life, and when I received the letter, my psyche couldn't take it all in. You have to realize in the context of when I was receiving this letter, I was becoming a mother, losing a father, gaining a sister, and gaining a daughter, all the while trying to complete my undergraduate degree. It was a lot to take in.
Did you believe it?
I believed it because of the way Jennifer had packaged the letter so carefully. There were the adoption papers. I saw my parents' handwriting on the papers, and I knew immediately after seeing the photos as well that she looked so similar to my youngest sister, Christina. I mean, they're pretty much twins.
She's right here in the studio with us right now. And Jennifer, yeah, and you guys obviously are sisters. And for all of us to learn how much you shared, I mean, the genes are so strong.
It's a nature versus nurture kind of story, because Jennifer did the same sports that Christina and I did. So it was really mind-blowing that Jennifer did gymnastics without having legs, and she broke all these barriers and boundaries, and she was never told that she couldn't do something. And I think it's fascinating to see what the human body can do, and she's just an amazing individual.
And I want to ask you, Jennifer, what did you expect when you wrote the letter? What did you expect to hear back?
I just sent it out on a hope and a prayer, and I knew from following her my whole life that she would respond well. I knew that she had to be curious, and I knew she didn't know. I felt that. I knew she had no idea, and that she would be so excited to find out about this new sister.
Yet a big part of you knew as well.
Absolutely, and all I wanted was to have sisters and to have the relationship with them and let them know I existed. I'm here.
And how wonderful to see the love and the bond between you right now, because growing up was so difficult. You took an extraordinary step after the Olympics. You actually filed for emancipation, a kind of divorce from your parents.
Yes, the emancipation for me in my life was a fork in the road moment for me, because I was trying to break away from the pressures of my father, the pressures of being perfect in the gym, the pressures of people telling me what to do, how to do it, when to do this or that, or when to eat, when to sleep. And I really just needed to break away to clear my mind and have some individual freedom.
You also had to break away from your coach, the famous coach Bella Caroli.
Absolutely. My coaches, you know, in the spotlight, they were very different when the cameras were rolling than it was behind closed doors. They hit me in a lot of personal and emotional places. They used humiliation and intimidation frequently as tactics. And I don't think, you know, people who achieve success and ethical people use intimidation as a method to achieve it.
And one of the reasons you want to tell your story is because you still love gymnastics, and you want people to know it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't have to be like that. I do love gymnastics. I will always be bonded to the sport. I'm very passionate about it. For my husband brought the passion back into my life after so many years of just trying to find myself and wondering why I felt this sense of sadness when it came to the sport. But my coaches had literally sucked the joy out of it for me. And that's a terrible thing to do for a small child.
It is, but we're glad you found some healing writing this book. It's remarkable. Dominique, thanks for coming.